So hello and welcome to Dommy Tries This. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug is a Valentine's gift from my oldest daughter. She found it at Kroger when we were actually looking for something else entirely, and it came with this little pear. Guess she thought it was perfect because of the crown. And it says, Mrs. Always Right. Well, I don't know if I'm always right, but I appreciate the coffee mug. I really think it's a very cute coffee mug, and the bear is actually perfect with that crown. Today's tea is the Taormina Saffron Rooibos herbal tea blend from this month's Sips By. It has been steeping for a little bit. If this is a standard tea, it says 5 to 6 minutes. So, and it says the tea bag can be re-steeped 3 times. Interesting. I will have to get a little baggie to put my tea bag in then. At any rate, so it's been in there for at least 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a taste, and I suspect it's at the strength it's supposed to be. The scent is very light. It's not one of those deep, dark, hi, I'm here teas. So let's go ahead and give this a sip. That's different, but it's good. I want to say I'm getting a hint of vanilla, but I don't know. Ingredients: rooibos, honeybush, lemon peel, ginger, saffron, and natural flavor. Okay, so I think what I'm actually tasting initially is the honeybush. I have a honeybush tea, and it I can see the resemblance. I can taste the resemblance. Not sure about the others though. I think what I'm actually getting the strongest is the honeybush at this point. It's a good tea. It's a good tea. I like that. Okay. It was a surprising start, but it's a good tea. I like that. That's really good. All right, so today is our Whole and Healthy Wednesday, and we are going to be talking about when and how to take a break, and whether or not you need a break, all those things. But first 2 things. One, they've just started air blowing. It looks like he's left the area. However, they may be back, and so if there's a lot of noise from the air blowing, I apologize. Hopefully it won't get too bad. I might have to take a break to let that go through, but at this point it looks like he just did a really brief air blowing over here, and now he's further down the apartment complex. So hopefully they won't be back to be that noisy. Second, if you can, I would really appreciate any input on the new lighting. I'm still playing around with having 2 little itty bitty ring lights. So hopefully, so you're getting little things in my eyes. But hopefully the lighting is a little better and you'll be able to see better. So, moving on, the next thing we have to talk about is our old and new. So for new, I'm using the Chasing Rainbows palette that I just recently received. I've actually been playing around with this a bit. My initial use of it wasn't very good, but my eyes were acting up a lot at that time. So hopefully it'll be better today. And for my old, I'm using the Ace Grandiose palette that I got in... was this the one that I got from, no, this is the one I got in my BoxyCharm. But this is a really beautiful palette, and I think it kind of goes with our clothing today. So that's going to be my old palette. I have been working with, for an old, my CoverGirl True Blend, but I have been mixing it with this Sephora 10-Hour Wear Perfection foundation. I've actually been enjoying this mixture quite a bit, even more than mixing this with the Matte Made. So that's our old and new. And I have already put primer on my face and set my eyes. You will notice that my eyes are just a touch different than usual. I have stopped using the NYX Gotcha Covered Concealer for now. Like I said, last week my eyes were just really a mess. They were I was just having all kinds of issues. They were being very, very sensitive. This one is already starting to water a little bit, but it's not as bad as it was last week. And last week, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was allergies. I don't know if it was, I just don't know what it was. It was just a mess. So I stopped using the concealer for a little while. We're going to see how that works. We are going to start with this Grandiose, I keep calling it Grandiose, and it's Grandiose palette. We're going to use this color Jasmine under the brow, and I'm going to go over it with this Not Playing. Not Playing was a color that seemed to come off as more of a topper for me, so we're going to see how that works. I haven't played with it very much, so I want to see how that works. One of the reasons that I decided to discuss taking a break and when to take a break and why to take a break was because I ended up having to take a break this past week. And I've been thinking about what I wanted to discuss for this week, and I was honestly having a bit of a problem with it. Last week was a rough week for me. I didn't exercise, only exercised one day. There are reasons for that. But the fact that I needed to take that break actually made me think about it. We are in a gung-ho society. Our society is go get it, go do it, don't stop, no matter what. And unfortunately, real life doesn't work that way. All right, going into the color pop. So real life doesn't work that way. Oh, that actually worked out nice. I can actually see that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is slightly pinking up this color, so I'm happy. It has a bit of a shinier aspect to it than the original color. So real life doesn't work that way. Things come up. Things happen. Injuries happen. The holidays happen, for crying out loud. You know, life happens, and sometimes when life happens, you have to take a break from things. I think a lot of the people who sit there and say, just go and get it, don't stop, don't quit, don't take a break, just do it. Just do it all the time. Think that if you take a break, you'll never get back. And honestly, I can see that point. During the 3 years I had to take off because my life was insane, I wondered if I was ever going to get back. I wondered if I was going to have the time to get back. I wondered if I was going to have the emotional capacity to want to get back. Yeah, I think the only problem with that color is it's so close to my skin tone that unless I put it over something and have something else next to it, it's going to not really show up as well on my skin. So I think it's more, not that this color was a topper, more that it just didn't quite show up on my skin. That's all. It has the shine and it's pinked up the color here now. So I'm going to take this color Rose and I'm going to put that in the deeper in the crease and sort of move it up a little bit just to add just a touch more color. I don't want to put a lot in there, but just a little bit. So getting back to things. For you, it's not been a long time. For me, yeah. Stuff keeps happening in between. We're having one of those days again. Anyway, so for me, I thought that I may not, yeah, that's what I want to see. I thought I may not get back to things either, but I needed that break. So what constitutes a good break versus a bad break? When should you take a break? These are questions that I'm sure people have. Should I persist despite, all this other stuff going on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Well, the first law of taking a break is take a break when you damn well please. If you need to take a break, you need to take a break, whether it's for your emotional sake, whether because you're too tired, whether because, something's going on in your life, or just because you don't feel like doing it that day. Although we will get into that in just a little bit, because that can become a problem if it's being consistently used for that. But the thing is, when it comes right down to it, if you need to take a break, then take a break. You don't need permission. You don't ignore anybody who tells you that taking a break is wrong, or that taking a break is going to ruin your momentum, or whatever. You do what you need to do. That's the way that works. Because in the end, the title of this series is Whole and Healthy Wednesday. Whole and Healthy Wednesday. When you're talking about health, you're talking about more than just your weight. You're talking about more than just whether or not you're exercising every day. You're talking about more than that. You're talking about your spirit. You're talking about your emotional health. You're talking about a whole, all of you, every part of you, everything that's a piece of you. You want all of that to be healthy. You want all of that to be integrated. And if one of those aspects is not at its best, then you are not at your best. And that's, you need to be aiming for a more holistic or whole person type of healthy, I think. We focus so much on weight and things like that I think that a lot of times people just sort of whatever everything else. And that's why we're just starting to have people speak out about, mental health issues and other issues that are being ignored, especially in the U.S. I don't know about anywhere else in the world, to be honest with you, but especially in the U.S., that are being ignored by our insurance industry, our medical industry, as being important. Because when it comes down to it, we've been reduced to our physical appearance. We've been reduced to, the pull of gravity on our body. That's what we've been reduced to, rather than being looked at as a whole person, as everything else in our lives, and whether or not all of that is also healthy. And that has left a lot of people who need help mentally, with mental issues or disabilities or whatever, out in the cold. And that's, so when it comes right down to it, the first rule of taking a break is, if you need a break, take a break. That's the first rule of taking a break. Do it when you need to. But I also understand that tends to lead to feeling guilty. Okay, so next I'm going to take this color Eclipse. I'm going to put that on first, and then I'm going to go over it with this yellowish So Meta, and brighten the whole thing up. And that's going to go across my whole lid. Going beyond that, what are some other reasons to take breaks other than I just feel like it, that aren't going to backpedal or reduce your progress? Now, sometimes they will. My 3 years reduced, I definitely backslid on my progress, but I needed that break for various reasons, and we'll get into some of those. So what are some reasons? Well, there's some obvious ones. Injury. If you are injured, you're going to either have to figure out a different way of doing stuff. For example, I had planters, it starts with an F, on one foot for, I had been walking, and the sole of my tennis shoe came off of my shoe, and I wasn't near home, and I had to walk a couple of miles with my shoe like that. And I ended up having to figure out ways around everything else that I normally did, because I damaged the heel of my foot. And that took a year to heal. I had to take a break from doing weights for a year. I mean, other stuff happened after that, but I had to take a break from doing weights for a year because I strained my elbows, and it took a while for all of that to heal up. Don't work out past injuries. If you can find a way around it, then find a way around it. When I hurt my heel, I started thinking about, I had the stability ball by that point, and I was mostly using it for seating. With my heel injured, I ended up using it for my weightlifting at the time. I looked for stability ball workouts that would help increase, that would be cardio, basically, without me actually having to use my foot. I looked for chair type type routines that I could modify for the stability ball. And that would, I'm using the same brush, and I'm getting into the So Meta. Now we're going to see how this works. It's always a risk when you're mixing things up and you don't know what you're doing. Oh, that's nice. Kind of lightens it up without it really turning it gold, so that's nice. So there, you can find ways around your workouts if you need to. You do not necessarily need to take a complete break, but sometimes you will need to take a complete break. I mean, if the injury is bad enough that you can't find a way around it, then you need to take a break. You need to heal. There's more to having a healthy body than to be working out 3 to 5 times a week or 3 to 7 times a week, however many times a week you're working out. I'm working out 3. Well, technically I'm working out 7, but I'm actually lifting weights 3 on a good week, okay? I dance with the dishes every night. And I've thought about showing you guys how I do that, but yeah, we're not ready. Anyway, learning to accept your body doesn't mean that you're already there. Takes some time sometimes. So an injury would obviously be a reason to have a break. Getting sick. If you're sick, then take the days off that you need to heal. Again, your body is telling you, I need to deal with this. Let your body deal with it. Let your body deal with it and get better. And just let that go and let that day go, and don't kick yourself in the butt. You're sick. You are not required to knock your ass off, or knock yourself off your ass just because you're supposed to be working out that day. If you're sick, you're sick. Take a break. I like how that came out. I'm hoping it's going to look better when you guys see it than when I'm seeing in the view screen. Hoping. I'm going to take this color Poppy. I'm going to put that in my crease and do my little point. Yeah. Another time, when you're too tired. When I'm too tired, I have levels of tiredness. See, I need about 4.5 to 5 hours of sleep a night. That's low, I know. And people recently like, no, you need 8. I can't sleep 8 hours. I'm one of those people who I cannot sleep 8. I sleep 8 hours, my body hurts, and I'm even more tired than if I just slept 4. And 4 is too low, so 8 is too much. So, right around 5 is the best for me. And there are days when 4.5 doesn't work, and there are days when I need 5.5 or 6. Last night I apparently needed 7. It does happen that there are days when I need more sleep. But the point of that is that for me, there seems to be levels of tired. I can get 5 hours of sleep and be perfectly cheerful and happy and ready to go. And I can get 4.5 hours of sleep and be absolutely, totally exhausted and unable to do anything. And then there are days when I can get 4.5 hours of sleep and not be ready, raring to go, but not be dragging through the day. So if you haven't gotten the minimum amount of sleep that you know you need to evaluate your condition. If you feel capable, then do a workout. There are days when I can do my workout just fine on 4.5 hours of sleep. I just won't lift weights. When I get less than 5 hours of sleep, I actually generally try not to lift weights. Because even if I'm feeling okay, I don't feel safe. Safety first, guys. Always safety first. I've been doing a lot of these lighter gold things lately. I think I really want spring to get here. So evaluate your condition. So I won't do weights when I'm that tired. But I have been known to go ahead and do, say, a cardio workout. I have Beachbody's Core de Force sitting out for days when I don't have enough sleep. You could also go a little bit more, quote-unquote, low-key. It's not really that low-key, but the other one I have out is the Beachbody Pio workout. The PiYo workout is slow. It's hard work, but it's slow. And I don't feel like I'm risking my physical well-being by doing it. I also don't feel like I'm risking injury when I'm doing the Cours de Force if it's on less sleep than usual. However, if I have less sleep than usual and I am feeling it, and, well, I shouldn't say if I'm feeling it. Yeah, I should. If I'm really feeling it, I won't lift. I just am not willing to risk an injury by picking up weights when I'm tired, when I'm feeling physically less there than usual. So, but when I am absolutely exhausted, I don't do anything. It's just too much of a risk to do anything when I'm physically exhausted. So evaluate, and you may need to take a break because you haven't gotten enough sleep and you're feeling tired and you don't want to risk injury. Don't work out if you're too tired, because the only thing you're doing is pushing yourself into the possibility of not working out for a much longer period of time. And he's back. Maybe he'll go away now. Okay, so I think he's gone again. Getting back to what we were talking about. I'm going to use this color Keep Cool. Going to use this color Keep Cool to deepen the crease. I'm getting better at doing these quicker. Anyway, so yeah, you don't want to risk injury, so that's another reason to take a break. But those are physical reasons. You're too tired, you're sick, or you have an injury. What if something else is going on? What if, like the holidays? Guess what? I didn't stress working out over the holidays. There's too much going on over the holidays. And I know that contributes to weight gain. So if that scares you, obviously you're going to want to try to get something in. But, stressful situations, real life, sometimes requires that you pay attention to what else is going on in your life rather than focus on just the physical aspects of your body and taking care of those. Sometimes you need to take those breaks to deal with stress. So stressful situations, holidays, somebody in your family has died and you're going to be going to the funeral, or you're grieving, things like that. It's a Tuesday and it's raining and you're depressed, whatever. Although, for a lot of us, not everybody, but for a lot of people, working out actually helps with that down feeling. And I have found that it does help me with my SAD just a little bit. Not as much as I'd like, but just a little bit. I'm bringing that into the corner just a touch. Right there. And I'm going to put something else in there because I think we need something in the middle to give some more dimension to the eye, but I also think that we need a little more different depth or a different color in there. This is turning out to be somewhat on the neutral kind of side, and that's fine with me. But yeah, we need something else, I think. And the first thing I'm going to attempt to do, this color Blurred Lines right here, I think this one is more of a topper, and I'm going to put that just in the center of my lid a little bit. Oh yeah. This is a color that I've swatched, and it just doesn't show up very well on a swatch. I do think this is more of a topper color, and it has lightened up the center a bit, and that's nice. That's what I want it to do. There are going to be times when you need a break just for emotional reasons, and this is okay. If you need to take that break, take that break. There is something to watch out for, though. A lot of times we use, I just don't feel like it. to avoid doing whatever it is that we're supposed to do that. I just don't feel like it. I don't want to. I'm not going to. Problem with that is if you do that enough, they're right. It's going to be harder for you to get back. It gets easier. Let me put it this way. I want to figure out how to say this without sounding offensive, because sometimes saying it's just an excuse is kind of wrong. Using that excuse can be kind of wrong, but sometimes something is just an excuse. You know, I don't feel like doing it, so I'm just not going to do it, is fine. But you have to be careful and make sure that that's not becoming something that's becoming consistent. Because the minute you start saying, I just don't feel like doing it, it becomes easier to say, I just don't feel like doing it, and not doing it the next time. I'm going to use this color Prism, again, to try to deepen that up a little bit and to go a bit underneath. And then I might add some of the green underneath and see how that works. One thing about playing around like this is, you know, a lot of times I get started and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'll either get a good look or it'll look like a disaster, one or the other. If you're getting into the situation where I don't feel like it, is becoming too easy, it's becoming the common thing that you're doing, and you know you want to have you want to improve your physical well-being, and you know you need to exercise, but that I just don't want to is getting too easy. Instead of I just want to, don't want to, try, you know what, I'll do 10 minutes and see what happens. You know, even if you decide at the end of 10 minutes, okay, I still don't want to, at least you've done 10 minutes. Whereas before you were doing nothing because you didn't want to. I have found for me though, my minimum is 15. You'll have to figure out the minimum for you. I would say to make it a minimum of 10 to 15 minutes. I don't think 5 minutes is going to do you much good unless, you know, you're in really poor health. 5 minutes would have done me really good when I was bedridden. Just doing 5 minutes every few hours would have done me really good. So I would say come up with a number that you feel you can work with. And instead of, I just don't want to, and letting that excuse stop you, I don't want to, I'm not going to. Instead of letting that stop you, take that 10 minutes and see if your mood about it will improve. Okay, going to try a little bit of this green. That's what I do. You know, especially, for me, it's especially easy when I'm walking. Okay, this green is nice. It's really dark, though. And I may want to lighten it up. But I will put it on the other side and then figure out how to lighten it up in a minute. I'm going to snag some of this Eclipse and see what that does. If that doesn't work, then we will go to this really light ecru color called Wiggles. But let's start with this Eclipse again, which we used to cross our lid. I guess it looks a little better. Looks a little less stark. I don't know. I like the upper lid. I'm not liking what's going on, but on the lower lash line. Oh, I guess that's not that bad. And once I have my eyeliner on over the top, it even look a little better, I think. We'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's good for today. All right, so we're about done with that. Like I said, one of the things that I do is, especially when I'm walking outside, I want to make sure to do a minimum of 15 minutes. When you're walking outside, though, if you don't time that correctly or you're not paying attention, that 15 minutes will turn into 30. But I have found for me that doing at least 15 minutes for most days can move you on to doing more. You've gotten started. You're working yourself up. You'll feel better for just doing it. And somewhere along the line, something will kick in and say, okay, I need to finish this. That's all. Watch and make sure you're not using I don't feel like it as an excuse. Take breaks when you need to. Really, take breaks when you need to. Whether it's an emotional thing or whatever. Like this past week, I had to take a break this past week. I worked out Tuesday. And then Tuesday evening and Wednesday, I was feeling queasy and sick, and into Thursday I was feeling sick. So Thursday I decided to skip it just to let that finish. I wasn't feeling horrible, but I was feeling sick. So I knew that working out probably wasn't the best idea. And then Thursday night and Friday through Saturday, I was fighting our taxes. I have a whole story about TurboTax, but we'll just end with don't use it. Just put in a search for free taxes IRS, and you should be able to get onto a page that will tell you how to find some free sites. And if you go through that link specifically, I don't know about outside it, but if you go through that link and you meet the qualifications, like TurboTax will do your taxes for free. They had Tax Act listed, but I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole anymore. Just saying, I was very frustrated. I was in tears. I was so angry, and that didn't resolve until like late Friday, early Saturday, and I was still so upset, and I hadn't slept well, so I didn't work out on Saturday either. It was two different cases, but they both impacted a workout day, and I just opted not to do it instead of pushing myself to do something. And I think I'm going to do a little more blending really quickly. But we are generally done with this, and we're about done with this talk. I'm going to go and finish the rest of my face, and then we'll come back with some closing. But mostly, just keep in mind, if you don't want to sit for the closing, just keep in mind, if you need a break, you need a break. Take it. And don't let anybody shame you about it. So that's the important part. So I'll be back in, for me, it'll be at least 30 minutes. For you, it'll be 2 seconds. See you in 2 seconds. So we're back, and this is our completed look. Probably losing just a little bit on the inner eyes. I have had to put more on in there. It's not bad this time. It's actually not weepy bad, but yeah, it had to be repaired. And I did add a little bit of bright pink from my ColourPop singles underneath. Don't think it really did much that you can see on there, but I saw it and thought it was pretty. I think it kind of brightened up that whole bottom area. Overall, I think it's a pretty good look. I used my Tarte. You can tell that Tarte is just shining away over there. Anyway, so this is our look for today, and I actually, I've been doing a few neutral looks lately, and I actually think I kind of like this one because the pink and the red just kind of bring it out of the neutral zone for me. We aren't in Star Trek, but we're out of the neutral zone. I think the only thing I'm having issues with right now is my hair being crazy, but that's my hair, so. Anyway, so for closing, I just, if you need to take a break, take a break. Just make sure it's something you need and not something that's, I want to say motivational based, because in the end, if you're not using your motivation to lose the weight or to get healthier or to gain muscle, and you're instead using the lack of motivation to determine what you're doing, you're not going to get very far, unfortunately. You sometimes have to fight through the lack of motivation and just do what you need to do. And so don't use the lack of motivation as an excuse to not do whatever it is you're doing. However, if there is a health issue, if there's an injury issue, if there's life stuff issues, like for 2 years we had just craziness going in and out of our house. So just daughter and my grandbaby moved in, then they moved out, then they moved in, and then my oldest moved in, and it just, when you have all of that kind of stuff going on and you're stressing out about other things too, sometimes your plate gets too full and you need to focus on the more important things in life. And trying to wrap a schedule around a brand new infant isn't going to work very well. Trying to wrap your head around doing things when you aren't feeling up to it. I'm not talking about motivation. I'm talking about just emotionally exhausted, spiritually exhausted. Those things will affect whether or not you're capable of just focusing on what you need to do for your physical self. All of that needs to be taken into consideration. So if you're sick, if you're injured, if there's family stuff going on, if there's grief going on, sometimes you just need to work on those things, work those out. Sometimes those things will be all you can take as an extra on your plate in addition to being an adult, and forcing yourself to do something else when you don't really have the time, you don't have the emotional strength, and other things are just completely overwhelming you. Trying to push that through, for most people, I think just doesn't work. It makes them hate exercise even more. And there are ways to get your exercise in without pushing this whole, I've got to go and do a workout. You can do what I do and do dishes when you're dancing. At least you're doing something. And it's something involved with an activity you're already doing, and you don't really have to put extra energy and effort into it. So if you need to do that, then do that. This is all up to you. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for needing to take a break for whatever reason, because nowadays people will judge you for just about anything, and that's sad. You need to take care of you first, worry about what other people think later. So that's what it comes down to. Take necessary breaks when you're sick, when you're injured, and if you need to take breaks for other reasons, just make sure that those reasons are not, necessarily excuses or motivational prone, because once you start doing that, it just becomes easier to decide not to do something. I think we all know that. So trying to keep into your routine or your new habits is probably your first bet. But if you've got something else going on and you know that you're not going to exercise, and it's not a just don't feel like it kind of thing, then you know what? Take your break. Take your break. Even if you don't feel like it, take your break. Again, that's me saying to someone, oh, really, if you just don't feel like it, then you should do at least 5 or 10 minutes. But that's up to you. And you shouldn't let anybody make you feel bad for that, under any circumstances. Anyway, so that is it for today, and I hope this has helped anybody who might need to take a break but feels guilty when they do. Don't. Do what you need to do for you. Anyway, I hope you like what you've seen, and that you will subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And if you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. I upload currently 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And occasionally we have a bonus upload, so you do want to try to hit that bell. If you're one of my notification squad members, well, you're probably going to want to check both your bell and your membership, because yes, all of that is still getting reported as being a problem. If you don't want to subscribe, well, I can understand. I am not everybody's cup of tea, but we do hope that you will come back again, because you are always, always welcome. And if you do come back again, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. This has gotten stronger. Now, I'm going to be honest. Had more interruptions, so it got cold earlier, and I did put it in the microwave, and it's gotten cold again, so that should tell you how this day has gone. It's okay as a cool tea. I think I much prefer it as a warm tea. There's just a hint of bitterness on the very back end of the sip. Yeah, just a little. It's so tiny. I can't even tell you where it came from. It's just, actually, it may not even be a bitterness. It's almost like a flatness. It's a little different than the rest of the flavor I'm getting. It's a cool tea. There's just something missing. Let's put it that way. It's like there's something not there when it's cooler. So I think it actually is much better as a hot tea, but I do like it. And I actually considered buying that. I'd considered buying a box of that as a one of my bonus extra teas on the side when, on another day. It's a good tea. I just prefer it hot. And after all of that fumbling around about the tea, I hope you all have a good evening. Bye.